Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Ham Radio Dude, and today I want to tell you about this cool little device that amateur radio operator KC9ONA actually built. I'm going to show you it, and I want to walk you through it. But what is it? To get started, it's this little device here, and if you can see, there's an Arduino in there, and there's a 1/4-inch jack in there. And what this does is the 1/4-inch jack goes to a Footswitch, and then the Arduino actually acts as a keyboard emulator or a joystick emulator, and it goes out to the computer. So in this tutorial, I want to walk you through everything that I did to get this set up and running, and maybe you'll want to use it. And I do believe that it could be used for multiple applications, which I'll discuss a little bit later. All right, let's jump into things. If you head over to amateur radio operator KC9ONA's homepage, you'll see that he actually made up an article for All-Star Link and the IAXRPT Footswitch, and he has some photos in here as well as some photos of the software that he used and what he had to enable in order to do this and make it all work. But he also has a couple of videos, including one with 2 1/4-inch jacks, and I'll probably explain why that works or how that works a little bit later. There's a description here about everything that he used and kind of like how he set it up, and then he has some links to all the products that he used. So knowing that I was going to build this, I wanted a case, and I actually do have cases like he used, but I wanted to see if I could find something maybe a little more compact or smaller. And I head over to Thingiverse. And typically I'll head to Thingiverse anytime I'm looking to do a project that requires something custom, just to see if somebody's already done it, because it cuts my build time well into half. It could be even more. So I find this Footswitch sustain pedal, and I said that actually might work. And I said, I wonder what it is. So when I click on it, I realize it's pretty much the same thing. It's Arduino with a 1/4-inch jack. This is awesome, right? This is great. And so I go down. I'm going to link you guys to Dave M's project below. I'll link you to his full blog post and to the Thingiverse file in case you wish to build this. But a couple of notes of interest here. If I go to his blog, he goes into more detail about everything and the case design especially. But he is using the same type of Arduino as ONA did. And that's the TS Jack with the Arduino Pro Micro serving as the brains of the operation. I kind of figure at this point, the only thing to really do is to jump in and start building this thing. And we'll walk through it together. And if there's any mistakes along the way, we're going to basically see those mistakes or errors so that we can correct them on the fly, and you can learn as well as me. And then at the end, we're going to go ahead and see how this thing works. One of the first things that was required in the project was going to be a enclosure case for your Arduino and your TRS jack or your 1/4-inch jack. And so I did print up Dave's concept of an enclosure unit. And the cool thing is look, it fits in the palm of your hand pretty much. But what I also really respect is the cover. It just kind of fits right on and in. Now, I'm not going to do that because I actually would have a hard time getting it out at that point, but a very nice fit. And it also feels like he did a couple layers of 100% infill because there's a little weight to this device, which is also nice. It gives it a feel of quality. So next up, we have this case build, right? And the case build took about 3 hours on a good quality. We need the TRS jack. I bought a TRS jack like this, and I thought that this would work, except when it goes to go in the case, it doesn't quite work. It's too fat. I just wanted to make a real quick note too. The instructions call for a TR jack. I did use a TRS jack because I wasn't reading the instructions when I ordered the parts, but everything did still work just okay. And I thought that this would work, except when it goes to go in the case, it doesn't quite work. It's too fat. Now, sure, you could scale your 3D print to be wider, but if you do that, this circle is going to become an oval, and the square is going to be pretty wide here for the USB port on the Arduino. So instead of trying to mess with anything, I went ahead and I went with a 1/4-inch adapter that looks like this. And you'll see these are sticking up right here. These contacts are sticking up. Well, the problem with this is they stick up enough to not be able to close this case correctly. I'm over exaggerating this right now, but they won't close the case correctly. So what I'm going to do, or I'm planning on doing, is let's go ahead and bend these down. And I think that'll solve the issue where the case should be able to close. As you could see, I went ahead and I bent these down, and they actually look like they're going to make clearance now for the case. Although this one might be a little bit high still. I think I could always bend it down. And let's just go ahead and try to put the case on. It's going to be a tight fit as it is. And I think that's going to work just fine. And one of the most difficult things to do now is to get this case back open. But I'm going to just go ahead and put a screwdriver through the USB hole because I didn't put the Arduino in. And I'm going to pop it up. And I found that that's the best way to get it open. Okay, so we know that that's going to fit. Let's just make sure that our Arduino is going to fit. And as you'll see here, it should just slide in. Okay, cool. I think I already checked this, but I just want to make double certain. And then I'll get some double-sided tape here later. Let's go ahead and take this out, and we'll go on to the next step, which should require a soldering iron. And here I am just testing continuity of things. And just a note, you actually don't need the green wire that's on the bottom, or if you're looking at the back of the device on the left. I took a good break from the project to go feed the dog, do chores, and zombie patrol. And now that I'm sitting back here, I have the soldering iron heating back up. I figured what better time to enjoy a cup of coffee than right now. And what better way to enjoy it than with a Ham Radio Dude mug? And I bet you're wondering, how could I get one of these cool mugs? Well, I want to tell you that I custom printed these mugs in-house, and they're available for $14. That includes shipping in the United States. And any of the profits that I make off these mugs are going to go directly back into the channel to help the channel grow, and will help pay for things like shipping on giveaways and stuff like that. So if you're interested in one of these, I'll have the PayPal information in my description below. I carefully soldered the black wire to ground, and then the wire on the top, which is green, was soldered to pin 9. Okay, I have my finger over the light so that you guys can see everything without that light shining in your eye. But basically what I have here is I have a normally open foot switch. I say it's normally open because when it's not being pressed in, the circuit's not complete. But when you press it down, the circuit completes. And this foot switch is now plugged into this TRS jack, which should be a TR jack here. And then I have what I believe is my ground going to ground, and then I have my other one going to pin 9, as outlined in the KC9 ONA document. This USB right here, as you can see, nothing is actually taped down yet, but this USB goes out to my computer. So now we're going to jump onto the Arduino and see if we can kind of do a little bit of troubleshooting and get everything loaded up, see if this works. Again, I'll provide the link in the description for the Arduino setup. I'm not going to go through how to download it or anything like that, but here I am on the setup screen, and I'm assuming that you've never had Arduino on here before, so just go ahead and click next, and then the installation folder, you can click next as well. And as you can see now, Arduino setup is installing. This should be a relatively quick process. However, if you don't have certain libraries pre-installed, this might take a little bit extra time. And after just a moment or two, the installation is complete. We'll go ahead and close this, and we're going to open up the main application. And if I jump back over to the KC9 ONA page, you'll see that he has a link to the Arduino joystick library that he used. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click that. And as you can see here, there's a bunch of, it's a GitHub link, but there's a bunch of files and examples. But if you click on here, and then you can download the zip. Remember where you download that to, and then let's go ahead and open up Arduino. I have Arduino load up into a blank sketch. Now we need to go ahead and we need to import those libraries that we just downloaded. What you're going to do is you're going to click on, sketch, include library, and click on Add Zip Library. When you do this, you're going to find that zip file that you just downloaded it and select that. I went ahead and I selected the zip file off screen. And here's what you're going to see now. If we go to, for example, Sketch, and we go to Include Library, you could now see that there's a joystick option. So that's great. What we're going to do, though, is we now have our Arduino plugged in. We need to confirm that the board information is showing Leonardo, and it is an Arduino Leonardo. Click OK. And then we're going to go to Tools, and we're going to make sure that the correct COM port is set, which it is. And then we're going to click on Board, and we're going to go to Arduino AVR boards and make sure that Arduino Leonardo is checked, and it should be. But if you don't have those correctly checked, you're going to have problems with uploading, and it'd probably be just easier to make sure you have that all taken care of now. Now we're going to go to File, and we're going to go to Examples, and we're going to click all the way down toward the bottom. You should see this joystick, and then you're going to see a joystick button. And let's go ahead and click it, and it actually opens up a whole new Arduino window, if you will, which is all the code that we're going to need. And according to KC9ONA, you shouldn't have to modify anything. It says here, ground digital pins 9, 10, 11, and 12 to press the joystick. And so you could basically have any of those grounded, which I do. As you remember, I soldered pin 9 and then ground as well. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click Sketch. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to verify this. And it compiles the sketch, as you can see on the bottom. And it looks like it's pretty good. So let's go ahead and click Sketch and then Upload. Now, when we upload it, it says uploading. You'll hear your computer turns the USB off and turns it back on. It's basically going through its whole process of getting everything uploaded. And it says done uploading. And now we should be able to go into Windows and see if this is working by opening the joystick property. This is the joystick properties, or the game controllers. And if you don't know how to get there, just click on the start button and type in joystick. And this little game controllers will pop up. And as you can see, the Arduino Leonardo is there with the status OK. If we click advanced, not too much we could do, but if we click properties, bring that over, you get this thing here which shows buttons. And if I hit the switch on my Arduino or on my Footswitch that goes through the Arduino, you see that button 1 is pressed, button 1 is pressed, button 1 is pressed. Now, we know that things are actually being detected now. All we got to do is we got to find a program to try to use this in. Now you're going to see I'm in SSH'd into my All-Star node, which I've already set up, and I'll give a tutorial at another time on how to set up IAXRPT with All-Star in a future episode. But I do have that running with the command line interface so we could just see what's happening. And we know that the IAXRPT software is running. And if I go to options and I go to devices, you can see here I enabled the joystick PTT. But just a note about that, I enabled it and it wasn't working. Then I disabled it and then I re-enabled it. It still wasn't working. And then I restarted the program. So that is the steps I took to get this thing working. Might be a little different for you. But I do have the push to talk button plugged into the Arduino and Arduino into the computer. And as you'll see right now, I should be able to hold down this and identify on my All-Star node. W9 FFF. Okay. As you can see, that worked out pretty well. A little bit of echo in here because I have it running through my speakers as well as through the radio itself. But that's just proof of concept that this will work. And I just wanted to make note here. It appears that Ham Radio Deluxe does have some function keys and shortcuts. Yeah, for example, if you hit F1, it doesn't do anything, but F2 goes to the menu. And there are a couple of different options in here. A control sequence where you could hit Control B and enter the bands manager and so forth. So I would be willing to bet that if the joystick option that I just showed you doesn't work, you would probably be able to go back into the Arduino, and in the Arduino you would probably be able to play around a little bit. And in the examples, if you go to USB, and I think it's probably mouse, and you could do a joystick mouse control, or there should be keyboard and mouse control, you might be able to at that point set something up to work within Ham Radio Deluxe, but I'm not sure. I haven't really looked too far into that. I guess I should also specify that it's not like I can't find a way in Ham Radio Deluxe via the shortcut menus that I just showed you, but it doesn't seem like you could just hold down the foot switch and use your USB microphone to go through your amateur radio, but you could still access shortcut menus, which could be very useful. You probably use this in many different applications. For example, OBS is a streaming software a lot of people use on YouTube. You could probably set it up so every time you hit this, it changes between scenes or sets up a couple of different things that it could change between or open, which would be very nice. So the possibilities of this little Arduino 1/4-inch jack adapter is actually, or I should say they are endless. There's probably quite a few possibilities out there. I hope you like this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. I'm Ham Radio Dude. Until next time, 73.